The latest security video revealing the moment that armed Russian sympathizers took over the parliament building in the Crimean capital. Now unconfirmed reports of thousands of Russian troops moving into Ukraine's autonomous republic. This amateur footage reportedly shows Russian military helicopters flying into Crimea. The growing crisis brought this response from President Obama.
We are now deeply concerned by reports of military movements taken by the Russian Federation inside of Ukraine. Russia has a historic relationship with Ukraine, including cultural and economic ties, and a military facility in Crimea. But any violation of Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity would be deeply destabilizing, which is not in the interest of Ukraine, Russia, or Europe. It would represent a profound interference in matters that must be determined by the Ukrainian people. It would be a clear violation of Russia's commitment to respect the independence and sovereignty and borders of Ukraine and of international laws.
The fear amongst politicians here in Kiev is that Russia has now embarked on the annexation of Crimea. Whether that happens quickly over the coming days or gradually over the coming weeks and months in a war of attrition, they can see part of their country possibly slipping away from their control.
In Crimea, tension built throughout the day after troops in unmarked uniforms entered 2 airports. By late evening, it prompted this strong response from the acting Ukraine president.
The Russian Federation has begun open aggression against our country. On the pretense of training, they've brought their military to the Crimea. They've not only seized the parliament of the Crimea, they're trying to take over the control of the civilian services and communications. And they're trying to block Ukraine's military bases.
President Putin, in telephone conversations with Western leaders, insists he wants to avoid an escalation in Crimea. But at the UN, his ambassador said the crisis was not their fault.
Well, of course, as you know, we have an agreement with Ukraine on the presence of the Russian Black Sea Fleet with a base in Sebastopol, and we're acting within the framework of that agreement.
Ukraine's new leadership says it will not be provoked into a military response. Everyone is desperate to achieve a diplomatic solution, but events on the ground could make that increasingly difficult. Tim Friend, Al Jazeera, Kiev.